Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with higher pilot precision on a daily basis. Coming to you from a deployed location where you can't really tell where we are in the background, but we'll be here today and tomorrow as well before returning home for the show on Thursday. Got a great show for you planned today. What we're going to talk about is the Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference 21, which they had yesterday, that announced a whole slew of things. It's hard to, there's so much technology behind it, I won't do it justice. But thinking about things like they have the Apple Watch can now unlock your home if you set that up. There's the new key tags, where you can like find your watch, find your AirPods, all that sort of thing. The new sidewalk feature, which is largely had a negative connotation there at the beginning, just because of, people didn't want to share out their internet. But I think overall it's going to be a net gain. It's supposed to make neighborhoods safer. There's more healthcare stuff about fall protection and different reporting that's out there. So there's really a lot of pretty neat things. And Facebook for Android, FaceTime for Android is another thing where they're really infringing on, everything that Facebook brings to the table as far as the video teleconferencing. Now Apple's bringing all of the Android users onto FaceTime as well. So all of that is pretty cool. For a question of the stats we're going to talk about for our long portion, we'll take a look at Apple stock and the cycle that it normally goes through, which is certainly in right now. And then for our question, we're going to talk about what are qualified charitable distributions. Those are generally later in life sort of things. You can certainly avoid some taxes by doing things smartly when you give to charity. All right, with that, let's go ahead and go over to our lineup card for the day. All right, here we are. It is, what are we on? I'm trying to think. It's June 8th, Tuesday, June 8th. That's all right. We'll get that caught up. Make sure you have your call sign and all attendees selected. Standard disclaimer applies to the financial education presentation. So you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning. All right, our mission objective is grow our money, protect our money, and live off the money. This is all about growing our money with the top holding that many of us, if not most of us, have out here, and that's an Apple stock. So we will take a look at their Worldwide Developer Conference as well as bring up the chart for us to take a look at and kind of talk about the history of the stock and how that goes. All right. Sorry, I saw something else pop up there. The flow for day will be long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, headline review. We'll take a look at Apple and IBM and talk about their different PR strategies, is why I bring that up specifically. We'll get into the market execution. We'll look at those next, and contingencies and academic resources are standard. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade Think Pipes, and I'll show you the setup in real quick as to what I'm looking at. SPY all the way left, and you have fuel cell long, so that's FCELs, our number one long off of earnings, as well as ASO is another long. A little lighter volume, so beware of that, but it's a little, but I like it as well. It is up on earnings as well, and huge revenue increase. Then the one to the right over there is KDP. That's the only short that qualified for today, and it really doesn't. It's right at that -4%. We would keep an eye on it. Is KDP again? Don't know the story on that one. All right, as far as, let's go out, zoom out to the hit quote monitor, and that'll take us out to the 1-year chart on the SPY. There we go. As you can see, kind of flatlining in this area of congestion that we're at. Could go either way from here. So we have the economy exploding open, so that's good. That's healthy for everybody. And then, of course, the taxes and inflation. Right now, it's all the inflation talk, right? So keep an eye on things. Maybe in this congestion area for a while, or if the economy keeps powering along like I think it will, then it should, that should continue the growth in the market. All right, let's look at the 5-day, which is hit charts. Second tab over. There you go. There's the S&P 5-day. So we did have the dip closing out last week, and then so far so good on this week. So we shall see. All right, you can bring that down and go over to cnbc.com. We'll take a look at the futures. The futures were in the green across the board yesterday, earlier. Go ahead and click refresh on that if you would for me. Make sure that still holds. Okay, the Dow's back. It was in the red a few seconds ago, is why I say that. So things are trending up there as far as the futures. All right, click on EU. It will go across the top there. All right, everything up in Europe. I like that. Asia. Everything down, but not really too much. We don't need to look at Friday. Yesterday. We'll look at bonds next. Down a little bit. for all those screaming about inflation, 10 years not saying that. It's down at 1.15. So, all right, gold next. Gold and silver down slightly. And last one, crypto. If you didn't see the big crypto crash, so we'll talk about this now instead of in the headlines. Trying to get away from talking about crypto all the time because of this very reason. So you know, one of the things that brought the stock price down in crypto was when the pipeline hackers didn't hijack it, they hacked it, and then demanded ransom. They demanded it in Bitcoin. Well, the FBI, or I believe it was the FBI, recovered several $1 million of Bitcoin from these guys. So these people, so kind of Bitcoin gets hit because it was the currency of choice in a nefarious activity, and then it gets hit again when people find out maybe it's not as untrackable and unhackable and all that as everybody thought it was. So anyhow, a couple of negative points. You can see crypto selling off across the board. All right, let's go back to click on pre-market there, and we will go down through the headlines. Excuse me. All right, Target upgrading to a buy. It's already run up, but I have it in the book. It's a fine holding. All right, Biogen, you saw the big run up yesterday. I think it closed 28 up. Burner was looking at it long there. I think it took a piece of it for the long day trade, but man, that the Alzheimer's thing, of course, is a challenge for everyone that has to end up facing that situation. Lilly, I remember buying Eli Lilly stock a couple years ago on that, and that on an Alzheimer's drug that they had, but nothing that panned out. So that'd be really huge for everybody. All right, go ahead and keep scrolling down. There's the Bitcoin Colonial Pipeline headline. Supply chains in China. Okay, don't know exactly what he's going to propose there. All right, and keep going on down. Okay, there's the social feature. Go ahead and click on that, actually. I believe it'll probably just be talking mostly about FaceTime. Get that pulled up here. Oh, go watch movies on your phone with a friend. Don't know how. I guess that makes sense. All right, keep going. Yeah, the joint FaceTime calls. I think they fixed the messaging group as well, to where now you can have a group of messages with non-Apple users. Kind of funny. Yeah, there you go. Go to the movies. That's kind of funny. Profit taking on. I was just catching up in the chat there. I didn't have it pulled up, but yeah, Biogen. I think so. Gosh, you made such a huge move yesterday. You can take some off the table there. All right, let's go back down a little bit further, see if anything else pops up. I think we got the big stuff. Okay, blah, 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 and the rest of that. You can go back over to CNBC or back out to the other headlines. All right, so that's where we are. Thank you. Scroll down a little bit more. So there's your Biogen number, burner, 38%, at least what that's showing. I don't know if that's just during the day or not, but yeah, after a move like that, you could leave a few shares if you want, but you can, for the most part, take profits. All right, can keep scrolling up. All right, nothing of no. Yeah, there's your double upgrade on Biogen. So I don't know. I'd have to look at the chart. We'll see if we have time to do that here in a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and go back and talk about Apple some more and go to the chart on FinViz. All right, so here's, you can see Apple stock, and there's a lot of folks. This is a very common, it's a 9 month or a year chart, 9 month chart. It's pretty common for Apple to go and do its quiet period, right? So they release some awesome stuff, and then they don't talk about things for a while where they're getting stuff done, and then they come back a little later on and have these big conferences like this. Stock really didn't move appreciably yesterday because of it, but I think as more people now digest what this can actually mean, is this a real challenge for Facebook, or is this not really the fact that FaceTime is becoming, having more features? How would that affect Zoom? There's lots of things to be digested out of what they released yesterday. But generally, unlike other companies out there, Apple wants to do the under promise and over deliver sort of thing. So they don't talk about their new phones, new products, new iOS in between cycles. They wait until the end. Now, I do think that it's probably smart business, even though it's officially classified as a leak. But you'll see, like when the iPhone 10 was coming out, and everybody, Apple, Apple wouldn't say anything. So, Apple, they got some negative press that there was, concerns with the iPhone 10, the iPhone X. It's not working. Blah 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 blah. Well, they just simply weren't saying anything, and then they would release the iPhone 10, and it was, of course, an amazing revolutionary success, because it kind of really changed the way the iPhone was set up from there. So you have that kind of company versus the. Let's go and take a look at the IBM stock. IBM has gotten some feedback under it lately, but IBM is a company that sits there and basically overpromises everything, and then sees what they can deliver on, and that's where they run into a lot of issues, and that's kept the stock down. I mean, this stock was up, I think, over 200 at some point. It's been beat up as being a kind of old tech, lethargic, can't really stay as nimble as the other folks that are out there. But every press release, it seems like Watson is carrying, all of healthcare, right? But that's every PR report that they've had since 1990 in my book, is the Watson and healthcare and all that stuff. So yeah, I agree with you there. The CEO situation, IBM has Apple, of course, has the stability like no other, right? You have, and I assume Tim Cook will stay in the chair for a long time, and then and transfer it off to somebody, but I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. That's a good comment there. Okay, so let's go back to the Apple chart real quick. So is Apple a buy here? I think this is a great opportunity to buy Apple. It's really poised, if you will, to where it tied, it had the split last year. So, excuse me, runs up big out of that. Then it's just kind of traipsing sideways. You can see that narrow pennant formation is that angle that it's looking there, where stock eventually you come out of the pennant, you just don't know which way. So options traders will look for pennants and then basically put a collar on them from there. But as far as all of the numbers for Apple, you just don't really see much red. I mean, that's really what you don't see. And, debt to equity ratio being in the red there, and long-term debt to equity. Apple's the type of company that goes out and borrows a ton of money when the money is cheap, right? Which is now. So even though they have a ton of cash, they also have a ton of debt to be able to go off and do what they want with. Okay, let's go ahead and switch out of this. We'll go over to TD Ameritrade. Got a few more minutes here than we normally do to set up for our day trade. So let me look at a couple things. Fuel cell, back out to like a 5-minute chart. If it's not pulled, oh, there we go. Get that pulled up. I just want to show you the history of the chart so you can kind of get some idea of where it's been. 5 minutes, fine, thank you. So there's the big move up yesterday. It's continuing that power and higher all the way from 10 all the way up to 12.5. So that's gonna be a pretty good move if you go higher. Actually go out to a 15-minute chart. I want to see a little bit more where this thing's been. Okay, so trucking along at 10 for a few days and then up from there. Okay, let's go back to the 1 minute. There you go. And same thing for ASO. Let's back that out a little bit. Want to take a look at the history. Again, both these are earnings, and you see the earnings there on the chart for ASO. So at 36, this one hasn't run up nearly as much. So I kind of like this as far as our entry. So I'm going to call ASO first. And then fuel cell, we would really want to see that selling off quite a bit before you go higher. So that's what we're looking at. All right, and then KDP over to the right. Let's go ahead and zoom out on a 5-day there as well. All right, so pretty clean drop across the board there. 35. Yeah, we just have to keep an eye on it. There's plenty of volume in that KDP at the open, so we'll have to keep an eye on it there. All right, any others anybody want me to look at before we get set up here? I'm trying to pull the fuel cell numbers real quick. See if I know what those earnings were. Fuel cell. Okay, up 7%. I'm talking about fuel cell now, up 7%. Okay, their earnings story is that they're losing less. They're still not quite profitable, but they should be profitable within a year. So that's why you're seeing that stock turn around pretty significantly. Again, that's a fuel cell. Let's check out ASO. Academy Sports, if you didn't know, up 7% right now. They are profitable, sitting with a 10 PE. So I like this for getting a little more attention this morning. And again, they're fresh off of earnings, even though I don't, yeah, there it is on the chart. Yep. All right, so that's ASO would be our number one that we watch in there. And then last one, KDP. Keurig Dr. Pepper down 4%. 34 PE, so that does have a lot further to fall. Yeah, like ASO long first, then switching to KDP short, and then we'll just keep an eye on that fuel cell. That fuel cell will have to come in quite a bit in order to make it attractive. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. We have 1 minute here to the market open, actually set up sooner this time now that we're working as a team here. We have the 1 minute chart all the way to the left. That's the S&P 500. So far, things are trending up, and the all three indices are in the green. The middle left chart there is fuel cell. We'll be watching that at the open. That is a long based off of earnings. The next one over is ASO, which is Academy Sports. You can see the earnings beat there at the bottom and that green number. Again, the pretty low PE of 10 on this stock. So as far as we're pretty excited about taking that higher. We can use a 40-cent stop if we can get it, maybe 50 cent, depend on where it bottoms out there at the bottom. But I like that best. And the last one is KDP short. So we're looking at Keurig Dr. Pepper. Again, coming off of a negative earnings, I think it was, and I don't see the number though. You can see it's climbed back higher, so it's positioned to fall short there. All right, there's the opening door. So let's go over to ASO. We're going to look at that real quick first. You can zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. All right, let that establish the low of the day. It's a good sign in KDP as well. Don't really see ASO moving a whole lot. There we go. All right, 39.4. We're kind of right at that point of taking it long at the 40 long. I don't like that bottom yet, though. So I may miss it. If this flips north, I'm going to end up having missed this entry. Just got to wait on, I wouldn't take ASO long here. The entry was all the way back at 40, so we kind of have to have it for us to give it, give a better entry on that. So let's look over at KDP short. First, you see some red in the market, so I kind of like it. So we got 35.5 would be the short of the top of the day. So the entry point would be 35.25 on KDP short. Okay, I like our entry here, or I like ASO a little bit. Again, I need it below 40 though. Of course, fuel cell is working over there. All right, let's look at KDP short, still getting some red in the market. So we're covering up at 35.5, so we can enter It's 35.50. Trying to do the math on the entry point there. It could almost go closer than normal on KDP short. If this breaks a new high here, I don't think we can take it. Okay. ASO is back where we want it now. So with the market on the way down, so we'll look at an entry here in, I don't know. We covered at 39.50. We'd still have to go up to 40. Nope, I just don't like ASO. All right, so back to KDP. 35.50 will be our upper stop. That covers the high of the day. The entry point would be 35.30. That would be a 20-cent stop. So go ahead and make a little tick mark there. So again, this hasn't really shown any sign of weakness this morning. That's what we're looking at, though, is seeing if it'll drop down to 35.30. We'll take it. If it doesn't here in this next minute, we're not gonna trade. But that would need to basically strike down in KDP to give us that entry. And it powered higher, so we're not going to take KDP either. So no trade today. Sorry about that. None of them are setting up anywhere near what I would want for that. So even ASO getting back there, you know, it'd have to set a whole new low of the day. All right, let's look at MRVL real quick. We had that up earlier. You put that in any one you want here. If you looked at this one on an earnings story, again, no real entry there unless you would have stabbed it right at the beginning, but yeah, that would be a dart throw. All right, and then the other short that we had out there was COUP, C-O-U-P. Let's take a look at that. Yep, down 8%. That would have been probably a better, at least there would have been an entry opportunity there. That one kind of did set up pretty well for a short. But okay, let's go over to click the charts tab and look at what's going on. So we're out of day trading mode now, going back into real market mode. You can see they're still hanging out in the green, but sold off from where it was pre-market. All right, AMC shenanigans. I'm off the left now. AMC shenanigans still in play, powering higher. Well north of 50, I think up to almost $60. All right, you got VLDR, Clickstream's in play a little bit, Nikola, Delta Airlines, CRISPR Therapeutics, Tesla, Palantir. So kind of all of the big names. I see Apple's up 1% there. So really click on or pull up Apple on this 5-day. There you go. You see Apple starting to get some love. A little bit going into the developers conference and a little bit, excuse me, today. And that's generally what you see is all this information they've released is all processed in. All the analysts will come out of the woodwork and chime in on whether they think it's great or not. All right, Luckin Coffee, thanks for the shout out there in yellow, up 1%. Pull up the 5-day in Luckin. You know, we're actually getting some love here in Luckin Coffee. So creeping higher above 8, we'll take that. All right, let's click over to red, see what's in the red today. Again, that's the upper left tab. Here we go. Okay, Mind Medicine. That's probably below $3 now. Pull up the 5-day in Mind Med. Okay. Oh wow, I missed the big pop yesterday. So gosh, what was that up 3? I wonder why that didn't get an alert on that. I have to reset that. Taking a note here. Okay, 315 all the way up to 395. It's an 80-cent move. That's a 20+% move, and it's given back at least half of that today. So yeah, there must have been a good news story. I missed it yesterday off of my alert, so I'll go back and fix that. All right, RBLX down a little bit. And really not too many other names down for being kind of a middling market here. Okay, you can bring down TD Ameritrade and go over to Chrome and pull up the Investopedia page. Okay, scroll on up here. We're talking specifically, yeah, just pull up key takeaways if you would. Okay, so you can say there in the middle is, my screen's set up here. There we go. Perfect, that's what I wanted. As far as the qualified charitable distribution. So, you know, you work your life, you try to minimize taxes while you're making money. Once you're into retirement, that's generally where people set some form of charitable giving schedule. Again, the tax code keeps changing a little bit on what does count, what doesn't count, and how much of a deduction you get. So that's always been kind of a moving target. But what isn't a moving target is if you have a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k. So remember, when I say those words, I'm talking specifically about IRAs where that money has never been taxed. It went in and you got a break on it while you were working. If you use mostly Roth IRAs, which honestly is most of us in the room, you don't have to worry about this because that money you've already paid tax on. But if you haven't paid tax on the money, meaning a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA, excuse me, then yes, then you can use this strategy, which allows you, as part of your required minimum distribution or any distribution that you take, if you give that money away, then you don't have to pay taxes on it. So if you think if you in retirement, maybe you pull in $100,000 and you give, you know, say 5,000 to make the math easy, 5,000 to charity every year, then, you know, by using this strategy, whatever you take out of your IRA, you would have your charitable giving out of that chunk because you haven't, that way you don't have to pay taxes on it. So, all right, so it lowers your adjusted gross income, reducing your overall income taxes. It is capped at 100,000 annually per person. So remember, when it's coming out of an IRA or a 401k, those are identified to an individual. So you won't get tripped up on that. But if you and your spouse both want to support an organization, you can of course do 100,000 each. All right, directly to the charity. So there is a paperwork drill here you just need to be aware of, so you don't do it on your own and then come back and say, hey, I need to deduct this. That's not how it works. It has to be a specific distribution from Schwab or, you know, TD Ameritrade if you're still there, but generally for most of us from Schwab now, directly to the charity, which means I have to fill out a form for you. So what I need from you is, if you have charitable giving, is for you to see if it qualifies. But just by simple Googling, you know, QCDs, what qualifies. Some political party contributions do not, that sort of thing. But almost all your service stuff will. But let me know, just basically these people, you know, Wounded Warrior Project, you know, I want this $100. Basically, you give me that list and I will fill out the information for you, or we will from the office to get you set up from that. We don't want to wait till the last second. So this is not a December 30th good idea. This is a like December 1st kind of good idea, so we can get all the paperwork done. All right, you can kind of see the there's QCD rules. There's some timing of it, so you have to make sure you know which one applies to you. And I think this is correct in the fact that it did not update when the Secure Act updated the RMD to 72. The QCD rule was not updated to reflect that. So you still have some different dates that you can manage with the QCD. All right, and then you see a Roth IRA can also do a QCD rule, but I don't know why they would. I don't know why you just simply wouldn't give that to charity, excuse me. All right, and you can see the distributions down below, so we're not going to go into that. All right, let me check the chat here real quick. ASO worked. All right, Academy finally will turn around and flip back along. Very nice shot there, Burner. Sorry I couldn't get the entry out of my mouth for you, but glad you got one there. All right, you can bring that down. Thanks again so much for, yeah, there we go. So yeah, established that day and then went back working higher. So very nice. So, all right, that's all I've got for today. We'll see you back the same place and time tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.